Hello and welcome to How to Connect with Humans. This is episode 10 of series 4. Hello, Wayne, how are you?
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good.
Good,
I'm so happy. I'm having a
good.
great time.
Me too.
And we had like more than half an hour of so much laughter and great time. As we meet with our guest speaker a little bit before, we have that gift. And our guest speaker today is closing series 4 is amazing. He's fantastic. We are having an absolute blast already.
Absolutely.
So, our guest is Rob Cook, and we love him so much already. And he is going to be talking about healthy living is an art, or something of the kind, or maybe nothing about that. So that's okay. So we absolutely admire you. You are an absolute inspiration. We love what you do, and we love your story. We're gonna let you tell us all about it, or whatever you want to tell us. So welcome, and thank you for being here today. It's an absolute honor to have you. Um,
Thank
so,
you. Thank you all for having me,
oh, it's beautiful to have you.
especially for a final episode. For a final episode, y'all might want to have another one after this. Philip, don't worry, you up? After this one, they might go, no, that we can't close on that note. Not like that. Philip, you up? You got one next. Bring Dave back. That's what we'll do. We'll bring Dave back to close it because this one's gonna be different. Right? No, Dave will close it on to, as we say, serious and smart people.
Yeah, because Dave Hill is here. You can't guys probably see it on the video, but Dave Hill is here, and you know, whenever we have an emergency, one of the first people we call to say like, "Would you come in?" is Dave Hill. So and he does. Uh, so
Uh,
uh, so he did 2 amazing episodes already, Rob. So uh,
uh,
pressure. Try to top it up if you can. There you go. The floor is yours.
oh man. First, I will Venmo that amazing introduction. I got my debit card here. I'll Venmo you for that. All those words, they were so great. Again, I'm just happy to be here, honestly. A little bit about myself. I came across the principles in 2018 after retiring from the United States military. I served 21 years, a couple combat deployments, but my job was protecting nouns, people, places, and things. I started out with um, places being high valued intelligence buildings and things like that, or high value dollar spy aircrafts, or whatever you want to call it. Then it transitioned into more places. I had a team of 75 for the largest US humanitarian airport in Baghdad, Iraq. Um, I'm sorry, Balad, Iraq. And and then it got into people. And that was when kind of like my life changed because I became what would be equivalent to most as Secret Service, but for a Department of Defense, US Department of Defense people. And that was when I started getting to see a little bit of a different world. Because each one of these leaders I was protecting were responsible for millions of people. And I just started noticing their conscious level being different than what I had ever experienced myself. And it was because their experience was much different than mine. I had no clue what it meant then, but I was just noticing something was very different about their world than mine. Um, Started suffering through some issues with alcoholism and emotional disconnection from some deployments. It had basically gotten to the point where to thrive in my world, I had to be numb as a human because death was happening around us. In one part in Iraq, people would set their kids on fire because once you're taken into American custody, we had to provide you with shelter and food. And so there would be people who would show up in the front of the airbase and set their kids on fire or damage or do something where we would have to go out and then bring them on. And because they were a minor, we'd have to bring the parents back. And so a lot of that stuff had just taken a toll over the years, and I had paid no attention to it, or I wasn't seeing that it was just unraveling. And I found myself in a very bad spot, very dark, from about 2014 to about 2016, going into 17 was like the darkest years of my life. Fighting with the military about keeping my accomplishments, at one point there was even a question on dishonorably discharging me for the things I was involved in and stuff like that. And it was just like a real bad time. And I moved to California for a fresh start, with what is now my now wife, but I was at a dinner party, and I'm a reader, and my friend, I picked up this book and I'm thumbing through it, and I was like, "Hey, let me borrow this book." And she was like, "Well, the dude who wrote it is in the front room. Just go talk to him." And I was like, "Dude who wrote this book in the front?" And I'm like, "Which one? You know, which one?" I'm trying to size up about it. And so she points to Michael Neal. And so I go, "All right, I'll go talk to him." And so first I kind of walk in the room and talk to somebody else first. So I don't go straight to him. I gotta accidentally bump into him. It's got to be organic, right? Uh, so I'm talking to a few other people, not listening to anything they're saying, because my intent is to bump into Michael Neal, right? That's how this is going, because he wrote the book. And when I finally do bump into him, we fall into this lovely space where we spend the rest of the night cackling, just off in a corner, just having a great time, getting to know each other. And so I really didn't know a bunch of what he did. I just know I liked being around the dude. And months had passed. We'd catch lunch here or catch a coffee here. And he called me one day or texted me and was like, "Hey, if you're up for it, I got this thing I want to try, and I'll need your commitment for 3 straight days." So I'm like, I looked at my calendar, I can make it work. And I was like, "All right, I'm in." And I was like, "What is it?" And he was like, "Well, I'm a coach. I'm a transformational coach, and I have an academy in which I teach other people in this understanding how to be coaches." And he said, "What I want to do is 50 of them, and they're from all over the world. I want to put them in one room, and then I want a video camera in a separate room, and me and you are just going to talk for 3 days in this room. And it is going to live stream so they can see how an intensive works." And I was like, "Oh, that's easy. Yeah, I can do that." And when I showed up, I started seeing the people, and I was like, "Oh my God, they're going to be watching me?" And then all the thoughts start ringing in, right? Everything start, "Oh, I got to answer the questions this way. Got to look intelligent. Make sure you're smart. Watch your words, all of this." And I fell into a space and I heard it. And none of that shit mattered anymore. It's like none of it. And then it was like, "You got to give me some answers to this." And it was almost like running full speed in one direction and getting clothesline and hitting the ground and figuring what the hell just happened. Like, he is literally within these, I think it happened around the first or second day when it cracked, that I'm like, how in the hell did he make sense of my whole life, which I haven't been able to make sense of? The 40 some years I've been on earth, I haven't made sense of this shit. How in 2 days did you connect all these dots for me? And it had got it was such an event, and I'm so grateful that it was recorded, that it ended up turning that the people wanted to ask me questions. The students wanted to ask me questions afterward. So we threw in this Q&A. And this is no joke. Everybody has watched me on camera just learn this shit about 2 days ago. I mean, a day ago. Like, they just saw me come in batshit crazy, and now I got this change, and they're asking me questions. And they all have in the understanding, they're all a training to be coaches, but they're asking me these questions. And I get up and I try to answer one. And I'm like, "Yeah, you just gotta," I'm answering the question, as I'm answering, I'm telling myself, "Why are you bullshitting? Like, why are you bullshitting these people?" And I was like, "Hold up, hold up. That's bullshit. That's like, and matter of fact, why are y'all asking me? Didn't y'all just see me learn this shit? And then the room just broke. Like, it was just like that moment where I got to choose to really accept this understanding or to fight it, as I had done anytime I had ever came to any other knowledge. That was the moment for me, that here I am, my ego now gets to stand up in front of these people who are admiring me in a sense, and I get to make it about me when it never was about me. And that, when I jumped, it was like, what did you just do? Like, what did you just do by clearly telling them people you don't know what the hell you're talking about? Now, nobody going to take you serious now. Again, the thoughts, now a new set of thoughts comes, So that ran through the community like wildfire. And people don't know, a lot of people don't know, and I'm starting to talk about it more, even it alluded to the conversation we had. People thought my life was great from that point on. And the next year and a half was subsequently almost as dark as those other days, because I was in an unknown that I didn't trust. And I would fight Michael and what do you want from me? What are you saying? How do I just not do nothing and it's better? Like, what are you talking about, man? I remember crying at his house one day, screaming, just bro, stop, boy, just tell me the fucking answers, man. I ain't got time for this. And he'd be like, you're gonna be okay. Oh, it's driving me crazy. Start settling. More and more things start happening. Started just settling down. Wait a minute. Huh. And after that, from 2000, the end of 2018, it was like that same thing. I just got shot out of a cannon. Anybody, if you were a human being, I was trying to talk to you. The grocery store clerk, the trash man, I didn't care who the hell you was. I was trying to see if you knew this thing I knew now, right? Like, hey, you got problems? I got this shit, man. I got this shit I just learned. I can tell you, this is some good stuff, man. This made sense of my whole life, because again, I grew up, I was born and raised in Birmingham, Alabama, and in the U.S., that's a very segregated place. There I stay about 4 miles from what they call 16th Street Baptist Church, in which a hate group bombed the church, killing 4 young Black girls because it was a Black church. I grew up poor. I grew up selling drugs and ridden in gang violence, and then I joined the military, and now I'm a military policeman protecting the country. And it's like, what the hell? My wife is white. I'm not poor anymore. I'm not rich, but I'm not poor anymore. I don't have to, decide where I want to spend my groceries. I can just get what I want. I don't have to subtotal it like my mom did when I was a kid. Like, okay, how much is that right there? And so it was this awakening, I guess is the only word I can think to. There was something bigger than what I understood about life. And it dropped majority of the walls. It dropped majority of the walls instantly around the end of, by the time I got into 2020, I was pretty clear. I had a few other areas, and what I decided was the same way. I never lost that. The reason I said that I'm just bullshitting you thing at the beginning was it's humor in a sense, but I won't stop doing that. And so what I was finding out was that I still had weight on some issues, and so I needed to be honest about that. And so I was saying, like, hey, where I grew up, a Black man being gay is a problem, so I have thoughts around Black gay men. Then I found out my cousin's gay. And I'm like, I don't care. But it was like, well, wait, why don't you care if you did this and this? It was like, because he was my cousin, and I had already loved him anyway. Then he was like, hold up, man. what is going on? Like my whole world is changing, but nothing out there is changing. Everything about the world is the same, but my experience of it is totally different right now. And I'm starting to get a clue it's all on me. And then it was 2020 when the pandemic happened, it was a wrap. It was like for me, it was the best thing to not be able to go anywhere and not connect. It was go inside yourself. And I remember going on this almost like a separation of myself to root out any hatred, any bigotry, any ignorance that I had within myself. And everyone I could clearly drop and let fall away, I'll speak on it. And those that I didn't, if I had to speak on it, I would just acknowledge that I had weight on it and it was just my personal thinking so everyone would understood. I know the difference in universal thinking and personal thinking. And to let you know that I'm human and I get caught up in it too. And that's just how it's been since then for me. It's like, and every one of I call them the elders or the old school generals and the principals, the first generation practitioners. I tell them, I said, man, at one point I'm gonna start studying and reading, but it just doesn't seem like a thing to do to me. And I remember Jack Pransky telling me, do not lose what you got right now. He said, because what you have right now is the feeling, Rob. Because intellectually, I have no idea what this shit is. Like if you ask me to sit in front of a bunch of students and articulate this, but just sitting down and telling you where I've had to learn my biases, where I've had to learn to love more, where I've had to learn to shut my damn mouth sometimes, has been world changing. I literally have changed the world, but I ain't dealt with nobody but my damn self. So, I mean, for me, how to connect with humans, I even love the title of that, is get rid of the shit. Like get rid of the shit. That's how because if you think about it, the pandemic, did nobody care about what color you were, what social economic, you sneeze you want to, I'm gonna fight your ass because I don't want the virus. Like I don't care if you black or white, rich or poor, don't be bringing that virus on me, you know? Or here in California, we have wildfires. When the wildfires struck here, everybody was helping everybody. If you needed a place to stay, because this was one of the most devastating ones we had here, it was just setting the city on fire. People were opening their homes, churches were opening their doors, stores were giving away free food. Nobody cared about all the differences then. It took me back. That's when I started going through my military career. Again, I was born and raised in the South, so white or Mexican meant something different to me. Up into that drill instructor is 10-8 in your ass, and you start crying on the shoulders of your Mexican and your white, and y'all like, man, this TI. And it's like, don't quit. Okay, I ain't gonna quit. You don't quit either. We love each other. To get through basic training, we had a common enemy, the drill instructor. Wait, the fires, common enemy, bigger than us, we drop all the barriers, we connect. Natural disasters, bigger than us, we drop all the barriers, we connect. Well, why don't I just drop all the barriers, Rob? Why do I need the city to be set on fire? Why do I need the water to come on shore? Why do I need a cop to kneel on somebody's neck for 7 minutes? Why do I need all of that just to fucking love people? And then it just changed. It didn't look like a way to live life anymore, and I stopped it. And so what people get now is this. You know, they get a bunch of crying, they get a bunch of excitement, they get a bunch of laughter, because it's all in me. I literally just as best as I can try to feel it. Far from perfect, but perfect as hell. If that makes any sense. I'm far from perfect, but I'm perfect as hell. Because I am whole. I'm not broken. You know, So yeah, that's the easiest way to explain me. I don't know if that did anything or was what it was supposed to be, but that was what came to me to share on me changing the world being about changing myself, and me about connecting to human beings being about dropping the shit. Oh wait, is it even okay to cuss on this? I ain't even asked if we got kids and stuff. Like, say that shit right there. Like, do kids watch this or people who I shouldn't be?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right, okay, we're going. I just, because
It's
Mimi
all good.
picture, when Mimi's screen went to the kids, I was like, or Dave kids. I'm glad your kids are, out, Dave. So, but yeah, it's just the
Personally,
way I see it.
I quite like swearing, but
Mm.
I don't.
It just, for me, it's just kind of, you're in the flow, and I just love what you've just said. It resonated with me so much. I think there was a moment you said something, and I think you just saw me just kind of like, yeah, that's definitely how I saw it. Because I remember when I came across this understanding, I literally was picking Carolina up from the train station when she came back from London on a training, and she was buzzing and she was talking to me about it, and I was just rolling my eyes. I was just like, what the hell is this? And yeah, until like 9 months later or something like that, and she turned around to me and said, unless you start changing, this relationship is not going to continue.
Mm.
And I remember I did a coaching package with Janet Riney. And
Janet, that's the homie.
yeah,
She's from Birmingham, UK, and I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. So that's why we play with that. Yeah.
I love Janet because I used to live up in Birmingham as well. So as soon as I met Janet, we had a connection there.
That's why he listened to her.
Well,
Uh,
it wasn't. It was part.
that's why he listened to me. We're from Birmingham. That's why he listened. Yeah, that's why.
Just without the accent.
Or a different kind, because they call me Southern and shit around here. You from the South, aren't you?
Yeah, more Birmingham. They're good.
Yeah,
So it's
absolutely. Yeah. But for me, it was kind of the way I kind of went into it, and I said to Janet, I said, look, I need help. Carolina's going to leave me. I can't take it again since my last breakup. What can help me? And so she started talking to me, and I was like, Janet, you're not listening to me. I need a relationship. And she was like, well, let's just see if it is the relationship. And I tell you what, those 2 hours went by, and what came out of those 2 hours was, wow, it's not the relationship, it's me.
Yeah.
And then one of the massive insights I had was, she asked me in one of the sessions, she was like, if you're not Wayne, who would you be? And for me, when you turned around and said that you lost your shit at some point with Michael, I was exactly the same with Janet. I was just like, I don't get it. I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
And for me, I was in that space for a good 2 or 3 days. Because for me, it's kind of like, if you say that and somebody says that to you, you're kind of like, oh, well, hang on a minute. I can't not be anyone else. You've literally just whipped the carpet from underneath me.
Yeah.
What do I grab onto now?
Yeah.
It's like
that's what it felt like. Nothing to grab onto. Suspended. Just
I've got cerebral palsy, so I walk with a walker and I walk with sticks. So for me, it's like somebody taking my sticks away and say, okay, now stand. That's exactly how it felt. And I'm like, where am I going? What am I holding on to? And then I remember seeing her again, and she was like, so how have you been since the last one? I was like, fucking horrible. I have no idea why you said that.
What you're talking about.
Yeah, just I don't want to continue. And she was like, okay. And then she turned around and said, you do realize you can be anyone you want to be. you've made Wayne to who you believe he is and not who he really is.
Mm.
And for me, even to this day, it still rocks me to the core, and that's why I still share it.
Yeah.
I'm not Wayne my disability. I'm not Wayne who's got such a horrific past for being in care. I'm Wayne.
Yeah.
I'm the great Wayne Yates.
My motherfucker. I love it. I love it. I love the teachers we have in this community, because as open as I was, why Michael is a huge mentor to me now. I talk about him often and I love him. He's a dear friend. But what I love most about him was that at no point did he ever try to take that space and make it his. He always kept pointing me back to myself. Like he always kept, I think the first time, how you might want to make your parents or your mentor happy or something. The first time Michael reposted or put out something I had did and content or whatever was something that I sat and thought about for a while. It's like, how people are going to take this, because this doesn't sound anything like Michael. Like, I wonder how, it's me. This is me, and when he redid it, and the next time we saw each other, we didn't really talk about it, but he was like, it's pretty cool. You're starting to see your voice, huh? It's pretty cool. People are starting to know, because everybody knew me. Like, I mean, you would have no idea how many people I'll be walking by in this community, be like, wait, you that guy from the video, right? Yeah, the crying. Yeah, that's me. Or, wait, I saw your video. And you'd be like, yeah, that's me. But most people knew me as Michael's guy, so to speak. And when my legs, so to speak, start standing up for myself, I didn't have a bigger cheerleader. Like, he was more excited about me being heard myself than ever me trying to regurgitate what he says. Because he thinks I'm not broken. And it was like, I love you, like all of this. Like, I saw that. That's why we did connect at the dinner party before. And I know you talked about, I'll tell you another, a special person is Marina, who you talked about earlier. Marina actually took the before picture and the after picture when I came into the understanding of the principles. And when we opened the door, Marina was the first two set of eyes I caught. And I was still a bunch of different places with this. But when I looked at her face, it was the first time I had ever seen, you don't think nothing wrong with me? Like, I could see that she had no thought that anything was wrong with me. And so that's what I did. And it's funny, when I got a chance to interview Marina, she corrected me and she said, even in the before picture, I knew nothing was wrong with you. The only difference in the pictures was you knew it in the second one. And I was like, oh, you deep. Oh, you real. Like, oh, you on another level, sister. Let me get to know you, because teach me that. Let me see we're all whole. Like, point me to a place where I can love you no matter what. Because it's you. Period. That has done wonders for my relationships with my family, my siblings. I have a brother, it's five of us total. I'm the oldest. One of my brothers is very heavy in gang and drugs. And during his height of drugs and gangs is my height of being a federal law enforcement agent. And we got the same mom, same dad. So when we're in the spot at any point, I can arrest you because I know that pistol. I know that was like at any point, or at any point, somebody could call me out for not doing it. And it was just, it was just like this. No, you over there, I'm over here. Same with my cousins and stuff. Of man, y'all selling those drugs, y'all doing that. That ain't, And I had this judgment and this bias on it. But I never had the judgment and bias when I was doing it. I never had the. It made perfect sense to me when I did it. And it was like oh shit, here I go again. I got this judgment. I got this thing that's disconnecting me. And I remember what happened was my brother lost his son, and his son was 11 months. And my sister called me and she was like, I need you. And I'm like, hey, baby, what's wrong? She says, I just got to the hospital and all I see is police officers running up toward the floor. And I can hear Chris all the way down here. That's my little brother. And she says, he screams, you kill my fucking baby. That's what he's screaming at the doctors. And she says, I need you to talk to him. And I'm like, he's not going to listen to me. Because we've been at these odds. We're on two different sides of the track, so to speak, And she couldn't get me to buy into he would listen to me. And my dad called. And he's like, I need you here. And I'm like, y'all act like he gonna listen to me in this sense, And my mom told me, you're the only person he's gonna listen to. And I thought that was odd. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna say it then. So I craft everything I need to say to him. And I'm getting ready to fly home. And I think back to when my grandmother died, or when that was the last funeral I went to, at least, was my grandmother. And I had an uncle, one of my dad's brothers, who was a drug dealer as well, but he was dressed in all black. And he didn't shed a tear. He didn't shed a tear. It was almost like he was just numb. And I thought that was strength. And so what I tried to do is the whole way home, I would find myself starting to get, emotional about my nephew dying. And I'm like, man, close that. Like, straighten this shit up, put your suit on, get ready. And flights got mixed up and all of this stuff. So I didn't land in town at the time I thought I would. But when I finally got into town and I looked at my brother, I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember any of the words. All I could do was cry. All I could do was cry. Like it was, and I was like, dude, get yourself together. And he walks in and I tell him, I said, man, I'm not going up to the casket. I don't, like with me, I don't want to play in that area. And this was coming into the understanding of the principles, but nowhere near where I am now in the sense of my grounding. And I remember I pulled my uncle out of the church in the service. It's like, tell me how you did this. Tell me how you were so strong for your siblings when your mom died, so I can do that for my brother. And he said, don't do it that way. And he talked to me for a few minutes about the regret he had of never grieving over his parents. And then I was confused as hell. I didn't know what to do at that point. I was like, wait, you weren't strong? Like, I thought you were strong. Like, it was just weird. We get to the cemetery and my brother says, I would like for you to walk. He said, hey, man, bro, can you walk with me to take the casket? So the casket's a little casket. It's one handle on his side, one handle on this side. And I'm just crying. And I remember walking up to him at the casket, and I just kind of hugged him from behind. And I was like, hey, I don't know how, man. I don't know how, but we're going to figure this shit out. Trust me. Like, I got you, right? Like, I got you. Don't just give me a minute to let me figure this out. And so the day goes, whatever. And the next day, he comes to my dad's house. He says, you told me that before. And I was like, what? He said, you told me that before. I was like, when? My mom was in an abusive relationship when we were kids. And one particular time, her boyfriend was whooping her ass. And we were so small, it was nothing we could do about it. And so we were in the closet and he was crying. And I was holding him, and he said, I told him, I said, don't worry. Like, I'll get us through this. Like, just don't worry. I'll get us through this. What that resulted in was me learning how to fight, buying a gun, all of these other different things, what my wisdom at the time told me would be the way to protect my family. But we did get through it. And I had no clue that even though we were living two different lives, that he never lost the fact that he felt like I was the only other person who ever told him the truth in his life. And that changed everything. Like he's FaceTimed me probably twice since we've been on the phone. Like we talk almost, like we talk so much now, it's crazy. And I just love the hell out that young man. Like I really do. And since that started, he has since stopped selling drugs. He has since got a job. He's moved out to projects. He's like, life is changing for him. And I just sit back and I laugh at, how did I go so many years of us fussing and fighting, trying to get you to do these things. And then when I just let go, you fall into it on your own. Like it was like that. Like, what the fuck, man? Like, how did that happen like that? And it was this understanding that we're all okay. We're all whole. We're just doing the best, man, we can with what we're facing. And that to me is not a concept I teach. It's not a tool or a tactic I use. It's the way I live my life. Like I don't understand it no other way. You know, when people say, oh, well, I used to, and this is no slight at anybody, you know, I used the principles in my work, you know, and then I use this at home. And I was like, okay, cool. I don't know anything but this across the board. So this is how I show up as a father. This is how I show up as like, this is just how I show up. You know, yeah, it just hit me like that. And I love it. I absolutely love my life. And that's not to say my life isn't still, I have problems or financial issues. Those are still true. Those are, you know, racial issues still happen. All that stuff is still going. It's just the way that I deal with it or come to it for me is just different. And, you know, I remember when Trayvon Martin died and I was trying to have conversations around race without this understanding, all people could feel was my anger. All people could feel was my rage. So of course nobody listens when I'm screaming at them and making about them. And neither one of us was there when the kid died anyway. Like, you know, how did I make my friend, me and my friends are in a totally different state and place. And now I'm about to risk our friendship on a image or something with my anger or frustration of what this particular incident mean. And it was like, this time though, when George Floyd died, I didn't say anything, kind of listened to everybody's perspective and things, but I was in a totally different space. And the first time I talked about it was on Michael's Might Help, Can't Hurt. And it just exploded. And all kind of people reached out and wanted to talk to me about race. And I think the difference was because I was talking about race in love. I was talking about racism in love. The space that like the way I see it now is what I understand, I can hold it. I can hold it because it's happened. I've had a few practitioners reach out to me and ask me, who are you to be heading up the 3PGC's podcast? I've had a few people point to me not being what quintessentially the 3P community has looked like for some years. And I've said, I get it. If you want to just listen or if you want to come to the webinar, and they've all came back around. It's like, man, I really just vibe. Like, he's just a cool dude. And it falls away. Like, that's the space. If we're really going to change, I got to hold. Like, I can't just hold this space. That's why I said it's so different for me having those those us versus them fights all my life that with the way I understand it now, I could sit down with the racist and see his health. He's just racist. I could sit down with the murderer and see his health. He's just a murderer. Or he just murdered, at least in that incident or whatever. And then they see it. And I don't know what happens from it. But kind of like Wayne said, you can't go about your life the same no more. So I ain't got to be responsible for what you do with it once you know it. That ain't on me. I ain't got that pressure. I just want you to know it. You know.
Oh man. I have no words, and everybody that knows me knows that that is rare.
I'm sorry to make you cry after we done cleaned ourselves up and I'm still shiny right here. I got to get my, for all those who don't know, we all got ourselves, our faces made up with lip gloss and stuff before we started. So I hate I messed that up, boo-boo. I hate it, Carrie. I hate it. Sorry, Carolina, but you know.
Well, if there's a makeup of this series and you know what we do is this true beautiful honesty that we share, as you said, you know, like where you're saying, like, so many times I found myself saying, like, I am trying to bullshit people, you know, like the whole, I come also from, you know, being an actor and, like, you know, like and do musicals and comedy, and, you know, I like to entertain, and I always be the one that, you know, tries to keep everybody happy, and it's like the clown that, you know, like suffers behind, but then and so many times just with this understanding, it's been like, you know what, just drop that.
Yeah.
Just drop that.
Yeah.
I mean, you started talking, and that, like, we had like so many laughs before we started talking. I just started welling up. Is that true honesty? There's like a joy of pure connection to who we really are,
Mm-hmm.
to a language that we share with words, but it is the feeling. Is that what, you know, Jack Brown's saying to you, just that you are in that feeling. And I remember actually I didn't see it with Michael Neal. I didn't see suddenly I'm like invited to the thing where for the first time we can see all the what we call like the first generation, the original.
Oh, the originals part of, okay.
Webinar where, like, everybody's coming to the table, hosted by Rob Cook, and so I'm like, first, how on earth did he manage to get them all together? And then, who is this guy? And then there's this incredible webinar where, like, you know, everybody that's talking, some people I didn't know, like, you know, they were like, because maybe they haven't been as visible, you know, as teachers, and they were friends with Sid, and they were like at that time, and so they're talking. I'm like, oh. And then I'm really curious about you, Rob. I'm like, okay, I want this dude to talk a little bit more, because I'm like, really, you know, these I don't know how many there were there, but you would have been like, okay, shut up, just let, you know, let Cristine Heath talk a bit more, and, you know, and just and let, you know, some of the others. I was just like, no, Cristine and Judith and Mark, just shut up, because just let Rob talk a little bit more, because I'm really and that curiosity, then I was like, I knew then. I was like, we want him in the series, like, and I think straight away we sent you a message, and I knew nothing. I knew nothing about you. I knew nothing about your past. I knew nothing.
I remember after that webinar, you text me and said, I love Rob, and I was exactly the same. And I remember you saying, I want Rob in the series. And we were like, yeah, let's do it. Let's just send him a message. Yeah. And I remember after that webinar, I remember going, I don't think I saw it all. I think I came in late or something like that. I think I was working or something. And I remember seeing you and I was like, who's this? I don't really. And for the first time, I actually Googled you and saw who you were. And I was just like, wow, this man looks incredible. And I remember hearing you in that webinar and kind of going, yep, definitely. And I love what you just said about words not being. I love when people say a picture says 1,000 words, because it truly does. I remember when I first came across this understanding, and it was the first time I met you. And I remember being in my head, and I remember Carolina, and the determination of this woman is incredible. Because I was living with my auntie at the time. I'd just come in from work. I'd just split up with my ex-wife, living on a blow-up mattress in my auntie's house, not with any accessible bathroom or shower or anything like that. So I was kind of not feeling my best or anything like that. So I walked in, Carolina saw me, and I remember seeing her and going, wow, she's a bit of all right. And for me, I just kind of, in a way, I kind of dismissed it, because I was just like, you know what, I'm not in the right space for her. And all. Yeah. But I remember just kind of keeping myself to myself and just kind of, but the determination of her, she stayed for dinner that night with me, my auntie and her kids and everything. And by 5 minutes into me being there, she'd moved the ironing board. She was moving the dog out the way to sit next to me and everything. I was just like, who is this woman that wants to come and talk to me? What have I got interested? Yeah. And I honestly, to this day, still don't even know what she said. But for me, the next day, the feeling I had was night and day. Yeah. And I think it was Chip Chipman that said every time that Jan walks into a room, he sees her over again. And it's the same with Carolina. For me, it's just one of those things, like you said, Rob. It's the universe that kind of just knocks on the door and just kind of goes, you know what? Yeah. Here's this other road. And that literally changed my life.
Yeah. When you see, it's so interesting when you realize you've never loved yourself.
Absolutely.
and that somebody else sees more value in you than you see in yourself. And they're serious. Not because you can give them something, not because you are a means to an end, because you're articulate. And if I put you on stage, we'll make thousands together. None of that. Just you. Like just you. Because when Lori saw me, I was at the height of my career, but in the slums of my internal, I laugh about it talking with people now about health. The reason I'm really shifting away from teaching fitness as my main concept is because when I was most physically fit, I was just mentally unstable. I was the most mentally unstable. So I carried a greater percentage of muscle mass and a little bit of fat, and I had all the muscles everywhere. All my clothes looked great. Good times. Now, I'm not gonna lie about that. It was good times. Well, when you put the suit on and you look good. I don't want to throw y'all too, cause I ain't that spiritual. That I don't like to look good in my clothes, But I'm just saying,
It's great.
It was
those abs.
yeah, it was. But I couldn't have worked my way out of a wet paper bag at that time, man. I was gone mentally, just destroyed inside. And it's funny you said clown, because I used to call myself a clown, a painted smile. Mm-hmm. A painted smile. I could put it on and everything behind it was a frown. Everything behind it was falling down, but I could put it on and I can convince you I was okay. There's very few people that I've passed through in my life, Michael being one of them, Lori being one of them, my aunts, and a few more people who could see through my smile, my fake ass smile. And those have been every pivotal point because it said something different than what I believe. Like, how do you see through this? Am I putting it? Let me put a little more makeup on. Let me up the cheekbones a little bit, because you're not buying this and I need you to back the hell off. Right? I need you to back off asking me questions that's going to make me question myself. I need you to back off right now. That was my defense, But each one of those relationships that just saw me made perfect sense when I fell into this understanding that they saw me. Not who I thought Rob was, as Janet told you, Wayne, not who you thought Wayne was. They saw you. They saw me. And it's like, I get so excited about seeing that because I know once I can see somebody, there won't ever be anything stopping us from having a great time of laughing, talking, sharing, upset, whatever they are. Like, I just got to, shit, okay, hold on. All right. Okay, look harder, look deeper, because we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. And it's just been one hell of a fun ride going through life this way. Still uncertain on a bunch of stuff. I make the hardest decisions of my life now flipping coins. I flip a coin. Man, I don't believe you can get it wrong anyway now. That's just the way I believe, I don't think you can get it wrong anyway. So I flip a coin. And I remember people used to say, oh, that I cannot, that is just too good. Cool. It works for me. And then I started paying attention to the flipping of the coin to realize I had shaped that, because I could flip the coin, and if it landed on heads, but I really didn't want to do it, I would still do what tails was anyway. So it was like flipping the coin don't even matter anymore. Like, dude, what are you doing? Like, it was just like all this shit I was creating, the so-called live life, rather than just living it. Rather than just I was trying to be a Black man. I was trying to be a man. I was trying to be a coach or be this great person or this. And it was like, no, I'm just going to be. And you get to attach what you want to in the end. Some people may think I'm an asshole. Some people may think I'm loud. Some people may think, I'm this. I get it, man. I'm being, though. That's all I got for you. I'm a be. I'm just going to be. And that part, I remember one time screaming at Lori, I'm a grown-ass man. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm a grown-ass man. And she gently held my hand and said to me, I think I'm the only one in this room who really knows that's true. I'm the only one in this room who really knows that's true. Because when you know something is true, you don't have to scream it. You don't have to stand up. You don't have to demonstrate it. You ain't got to market it. It just comes when it's true. That was life-changing for me. I ain't gotta be nothing but me. Be. Me changes too. Like you said, you're an actress, you sing, me changes. I was a fitness instructor, I was a military member, I wanted to play sports. Me changes all the time. I'm just gonna be. Seems to work.
Yeah, it is beautifully disarming. That's what I'm hearing from you and what I can see, that beautifully disarming. Because when you start realizing you're safe on who you are, and you don't need no more guns or muscles or masks or pretending, then you also know that who you are cannot be, there's no makeup
Nope.
that can cover that. And who you are is so much more than what you know and what you think you are. So the more disarming and the more disarmed of color and titles and you know and conditions, then there's nothing that separates us. And
I like that.
There's nothing that separates us from us either, from who we really are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that. Disarming anything that doesn't allow me to connect with another human being. Yeah. And that's all done inside. That ain't got nothing to do with the other person. That has absolutely nothing to do with the other person. I mean, you could be screaming whatever you want, but disarming your screaming is going to be by loving you. Like, if you think about it, like, somebody's screaming at you, it's like, oh my God, I just love you. Like, is this motherfucker crazy? Like, don't he hear me cussing him out and calling him these names? And, people know when you don't move on something, or you've ever had that before? Like, you say something that you think is so big and the other person not even fazed by it, where you have to start rethinking, is this real? Like, wait, it's kind of that. Like, did you hear what they said? Yeah. You didn't get angry? Nah. Why? It's the way they see it. But they shouldn't. Okay, that's probably true too. But I'm just saying what they saw was true to them. Now, if it ever becomes a time, I will say, because I've taken a responsibility to share this with the world. So by accepting the responsibility to share this with the world, because I could have just, for me at least, I could have just lived and enjoyed the hell out of my life peacefully by this new understanding. Never tell anybody shit. Like, I got it. Like, I'm good. But after living like that, you want all humanity. Again, when you connect with humans, you want everybody to feel this. So I start teaching it. I start coaching. I start pointing to it. And, I think the part for me that was pretty cool was the understanding that it makes perfect sense if I'm talking to someone who lives outside and in, that they would see something from the outside in. Like, it's no way we should be sitting down having the same conversation if I have an inside out understanding and you have an outside in, outside in, and I got an inside out. We shouldn't be having the same experience. We shouldn't be seeing things the same way. And so it's kind of like, oh, that's it. And I go in and out. Trust me, there are some things I got child abuse. I'm very weighted on. I'm very weighted on it because I love kids. Dogs, abuse a dog. I'm thinking you need to be under the jail, like the worst offender of, because I love all three of my dogs are rescue. So they've been abused. Even that, I didn't even like dogs before this understanding. Didn't even like. I used to ask Michael, no shit. I used to ask Michael, can you put your dogs away? Like he had one dog at the time, Sergeant Pepper, which is a big white Labradoodle. I'm pretty sure people probably saw him cross the screen or whatever, right? But Pep can run the house, the gamut of the house. And I'm like, man, put your damn dog up, bro. Like, come on, man. Like the dog on the couch and shit, man. Like, come on. And then when I fall into the understanding, he gets another puppy named Lily, right? And then I get a puppy. Now, when I go to Michael's house, I'm in love with Lily. Lily gets to lay in my lap. Because as Lily's growing, I'm growing for my love for animals, right? And it's no joke. If I go to Michael's house now, we laugh at it, and I don't know, maybe this is, and I hope it's not a bad thing, but Sergeant Pepper is white, and Lily is black. Those are the two colors of the dogs, right? And so we have this joke that's so funny. It's like, man, Lily only like me because I'm black. You know what I'm saying? So it's this, but it's because I didn't have a love for dogs when I met Pep. So Pep could feel that. But when I met Lily, I adored puppies. And so even, I was just at Michael's house for a program a couple weeks ago. Lily damn near stays in my lap. Like, I got pictures of my dogs when I come home, be like, you been around Lily, huh? I can smell her on you. That's how my dogs be. Like, you been around Lily, huh? Pepper say what's up, but me and Pepper ain't like that. It's just how it is, But yeah, I have weight on some issues too, but I'm very vocal about them. I'm looking to learn in them. I see more in it, because I figure like every situation I have weight on, at some point that person may sit in front of me. And and I want to be able to help them too, because I think everybody should understand that they have this access to well-being, innately, like nothing to do about it. Like, we really, in some sense, don't control life. Like, no human being gets to cut the oxygen off when they're mad from a particular group, no matter how bad you think they are. Even if you think they're the worst, you can't cut their oxygen off. You can't stop their sunlight. You can't stop their rain. That's out of your control. Well, wait, if those necessities for life don't get discriminated against, how can I just go about making up shit to discriminate up under life? Like, how can I make it up? Even with your own bodies, when you sit down and eat, you have no idea when your body breaks down and strip your proteins to put them into your muscle rebuilding, strip your amino acids and rebuild you, take your caffeine, put it there for energy, whatever your body does, you have no idea how that happens. You don't even get to decide when it's time to go to the bathroom or not. Like, it happens. It's just like you're not even in control of what really we need to live. So why do you make such a big deal about all this other shit we make up anyway for the experience? What kind of car I gotta have? What kind of watch I need on my wrist? What kind of, I used to have I used to have so many shoes, high value dollar. I was a sneakerhead for a period of time till this shit got super expensive. Like, once shoes got to a certain, it's like $300. Whoo, man, I got a bill due. But they sure look nice on your feet for people to look at, but not help you pay your bills. But anyway, yeah, and all of that start falling away. Like, I don't need any of that. I wear pajamas just about everywhere I go now. I put on a nice shirt for y'all. My Crocs are right here. That's it. That ain't they like this it, bro. This it. I'll shave and keep a haircut on you, but that's about it, bro. When it's somebody asked me in the store one time, I was like, how do you expect people to take you serious when you're in pajamas and Crocs? I was like, I don't. But I guarantee I ain't never had nobody not understand I was serious when I was serious. Like, what would you do if somebody just ran up on you? I don't know. But I know my Uncle Sam spent millions making sure I know how to shoot, fight, and drive. That was my job. Shoot, fight, drive. I've been to courses. I've been to some courses in the military where you get in, and I was pretty good with fighting and using my hands, and they're just cool. We just send more people in. So they could show you that no matter where you end up, you can always get your ass kicked. So you might want to start thinking about getting away rather than trying to show you're more powerful or you have more balls than the next man and fight it out. I'm sorry, Mimi, to say balls. I don't know if it's sorry about that.
Balls is like balls.
Balls is fine. Okay, cool. You know what I mean? Like, it just, once you learn how to fight, you realize you don't want to fight. Like, it's like you don't want to fight because you realize you can hurt someone. I carried 2 guns when I was in the military. One on my ankle sitting in the vehicle because it was easier for me to reach because I'm in a vehicle to shoot out of a window with rather than trying to reach and pull through the seatbelt off my hip. I carried a knife. Click. There's a knife right here on my desk. Like right here. Like if you come in my office, this knife is right here under my desk. Now, I live in an area where my door is unlocked. So ain't nobody coming in my house. I don't know why the knife is here, but it's here. It's just shit, But when you realize these things and I don't want to hurt another human being. So my gun is up near the bedroom. And I don't even know if I'll pull it out now. Because if you felt like your life was at a point where you needed to come in my house and steal, you can have it. Because I figured out a way how to get this. I'll figure out a way to get another couch. Just let my dogs come upstairs as you wipe me out. Like, because you fuck up my dogs, I'm coming down. I'm gunning. Like, you fuck up my dog, I'm gunning because they sleep downstairs. But yeah, man, because I've stolen from people before. Like I stole from people before when I thought I needed or whatever. So how when I hold a space for somebody who feels like they need it? Like when people what they would call misuse or misuse me now with contracts or things with coaching and speaking, I ain't finna argue with you about that. You got me. We set amount, got it. You don't want to pay it, cool. Got it, man. We don't do business that way anymore. Like that's all. I don't hate you. I don't dislike you. You felt you needed an extra, swipe me out of an extra couple $100. Got it. Oh man, good. Like I don't have time to pick that up because I know what picking up this shit will do to you. It almost killed me. I had all of that. I had the race rage. I had the socioeconomic stuff. I had all of that, and that shit literally almost killed me. So it was perfect timing for me to come into this understanding. I don't think I would be here. It's probably why I run off on this in such a kid type way because I'm new to life almost. It's like I'm only 3 years old really because I just came into it. So sometimes I tell like Cristine Heath or Michael sometimes like, hey, sometimes y'all might have to reel my crazy ass back and be like, hey, you're getting out because I'm trying shit. I'm learning. I'm exploring. I'm your 3-year-old son who's reaching up and to pull the whole TV off the thing because he's trying to figure out what this string leads to. That's me right now. right? Like that's me right now. I just happen to be 44 years old. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's just that, man. It just feels like I just literally woke up to what life really is. And it's fun as shit.
Do you think we should ask people if they want to ask or share something? And
Can we please? Because I felt like I've been talking a lot. Can we please?
can we please? I want to show you like the most deadly thing we have in this house, because you're not the only one.
Oh, that's that eyeliner. Get them. You poke them in their eyes, they can't see. Get them, girl.
Comes in this house. Well,
Apart from the cats.
they're gonna get some lips glowing, I have to say. Right. Anybody, just mute yourself or put your hand up. So it's up to you, or write it on the comments. So we'll ask for you.
Hi, Rob.
Listen, muted.
Hey, Dave, how you doing, man?
Really well, thank you. Thank you so much for that. That was wonderful. Really lovely to hear what you've got to say, and loving the sort of authentic curiosity, and that is it. You know, that you hit it in a nutshell there. I'm a 5-year-old in principles terms, but I'm 44 too.
Okay.
So I've pulled the television down and I've stood on top of it, and actually it still works. So just keep climbing.
I love it.
It's the best way to put it. But I'm also a veteran. I did 17 years in the British Army, and I came into the understanding to try and point veterans back to their mental well-being. So that's what I'm doing in the UK. One of the things I'm working on at the moment is a not-for-profit book called Missing in Action. And what we're trying to do is get veterans, hopefully with an understanding of the 3 principles, to share their journey in their own words. And I was wondering if you might be interested in hearing a little bit more about that, because what, you know, as you know, what's most important about this is the authenticity of our individual stories, and that's what people tap into. I was wanting to call it the book Squad Average, because you know what it's like when you're doing a target indication and you've got people looking at different things. Some people are going to pick up on some of it and not on other bits, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this. So if you're interested in learning more,
I'll say, let me answer the question. I am way past want to hear more about it.
Cool.
How about that?
That's awesome.
And thank you for your service. Most people will say it individually to each countryman of their own country, but I understand what it takes to serve your country. So thank you. And I'm all in. I just did a webinar a couple of days ago about PTSD with Cristine Heath, and it was a topic because I didn't even know. I had no clue how numb I was until I had no vibration to people being heard or things happening, and I realized the state mentally I was in was not so much it was wrong, it just didn't make sense to have in Los Angeles, California. Saved my life in Afghanistan and Iraq, but not so much in Tampa, Florida, and in Los Angeles. You don't have to be that way. And I think that was the biggest shift for me was, you're not broken again and nothing's wrong with you. We train you this way. Like, we literally train you this way. We condition you this way. But yeah, I would love to connect about that and offer whatever services I can. I'm not a writer. I'll talk it out and transcribe it and try to get it back. Okay, cool.
That's absolutely cool. I know, quite a lot. I was an infantryman. I know quite a lot of the guys that work for me struggle with the thought of writing. So what we're actually, most of the book so far is us doing, is myself and a chap called Paul McCarthy. We're interviewing people and then writing that up and sending it to them.
Perfect. I'm in. Count me in. You can count me all the way in now. Now that you say I ain't got to write shit, you can count me all the way in.
We're more interested in the
thinking
story.
around writing. I got some thoughts about writing. You know, teachers mark my papers up. They never made it through. Every school I've ever went to or academy I've ever went to, leadership academy, anytime I write something, people would ask me questions, but nobody ever asked me anything after I spoke. They understood it. And so I developed myself this wavy area where I don't feel like I write so well. All right. Now I'm growing through it, obviously. But now that you say I don't have to grow through it so fast, I'm all in with you.
Cool. Happy days.
So you heard it here first, okay? So you're both coming back as soon as okay? So we want to see what happens. But also, I remember when we talked to you, Dave, and there was something about also audiobooks and somebody reading the stories.
Yeah.
Because as I understood as well, there's a lot of people that are dyslexic or struggle reading like the book.
The plan will be to get it read as well, so that people can listen to it.
If you heard Rob,
I am an Audible person. I listen to all my books on Audible now. It's just better for me. You know, I am one of those people where if I read a paragraph, I got to read it 3-4 times, and I got to take it, got to break that. But if I hear it, like when I'm just driving in my car and listening to the books as I do, it's like it sinks, it hits just the way I learn. And I probably could too, but an Audible book, oof, man.
So I think Dave, you found the voice.
Oh no, wait a minute. You just wait a minute, you lose some extra shit in there, Carolina. Wait a minute. Nah. Yeah. Wait a minute. I was saying
I won't hold you to that.
Okay, cool. Okay, we'll see what happens. How about that? Damn, Wayne said she was good.
With my there we go. It's signed. Done. Okay. It's a deal. So
that is hilarious.
That's what we're doing. Okay, anybody wants to anything else from Rob that wants? So come on. He's here for all the offerings. So
hi Rob.
Hello. What's going on, man?
Yeah, thank you. Very nice session. I really enjoyed it. It was really nice to hear your perspective and your way of speaking. I really like it. So thank you for that. And for you, Dave, me and Niklas, we have shared our stories in a book. So if you want, we can tell you a little bit about the concept that we used in that book. So we can connect.
So now also, Dave, your book is going to be published in Swedish. So again,
yeah.
That's it.
I think this is just like a networking call, isn't it? It's
fun. I wouldn't sell like a parasol in the middle of the Sahara or water, you know, but it seems it's changing. Mm-hmm. It's changing. Yeah. Okay.
I'm sold.
Anybody else? Do you want to share? Do you want to ask?
Can I?
Yes.
Thank you so much, Rob. I really enjoyed listening to you. You probably saw me laughing and nodding my head and all of that. I'll be honest, the reason I decided to join the webinar was the title, you know, healthy living as an art or as an art. So could you say a little bit more about
Absolutely.
that? You know, why do you call it an art?
Got it. Okay. Yes, I guess I should stick with the title. That's how I tell you. That's right there. So, what I mean by healthy living is an art, right? So as I understand fitness, right? there is science behind how to take care of the body, meaning getting your heart rate to a certain intensity level, body fat percentages, muscle mass, and things like that. That's all science. That's not going to change. That's not the way you achieve it, though, is the art. So I may go to the gym 5 days a week. You may hike. I may do strength, conditioning every day, but you may do bands and Pilates classes. Like, how you may be vegan, I may be vegetarian, Dave may be keto. That's all the art. That's not the science. That's just a way to get to where we're trying to go, not the way. And so a lot of times people argue about the way there, and they never realize we're all going there. We're all going to get there. Whether you go down First Avenue, I go down Second Avenue, Dave goes down Third Avenue, we all ended up in the same place. So stop arguing about the avenue and let's just get clear on the place. And so most of my programs are around getting people the basic understanding of science behind taking care of the mind, the body, right? So my particular style is I have 5 keys that I kind of point people to. First one is prioritizing your self-care. It's the most important thing I think any human being can do is prioritize your self-care. And what I mean by self-care is whatever the fuck you need at that time. Like when I show up before, when I used to show up for clients, I didn't care what their day went like. You about to get on this bike and I'm about to hammer you into the ground and you about to sweat it out and throw up. I don't care about your life. You had my workout. And then I realized how unhealthy that was. And I had to start my own business because I got in trouble at my gym once because my supervisor kind of barked at me because I sent one of my clients home, but our gym needed the session. And what happened was my client comes in and I could see his face is obviously disturbed. And he was like, man, bad day at work. He says, I lost $4 million. I was like, go home. He was like, no, I need to. I said, go home. I said, because if I've lost $4 million, I wouldn't even came to this motherfucker. Like, if you, like, your mind is not here. We're just going to hurt you right now. Right? Like, you need to settle down. You don't need to be trying to do all this stuff. You need to do that, right? So he went home and then we rescheduled thing, and he was like, so thank you, because it just felt good for him to be home with his family during that time. That was us prioritizing his self-care. Right? So that's the biggest thing. Do what you need when you need it. Second, move often. What does that mean? Move often. Like most people think, oh, I got to go to the gym. If you do me a favor, stand up and sit down in your seat right now. If you can, unless you got on pajamas like me. Like unless you got on PJs like me. Okay, stand up and sit down if you can. Okay, right, got it. Your body doesn't know. Okay, Dave did it for me. Okay, thank you, Dave. Like now, so Dave's body does not know if Dave performed a squat or he stood up and sat down. Dave knows, but his body doesn't. All Dave's body knows is knee flexion, hip extend. Period. So if you are standing up, sitting down at home doing commercials, you're squatting. So why are we saying you got to leave your house and go pay $150 a month to be able to squat? You can do that shit at home. Like it doesn't, now it may be something cool about the community and the environment being at a gym, but as long as you're moving often, you're fine. Like my wife hates gyms, but she'll get in these woods and hike for 12, 13 miles. And she'll be like, you want to come? I'll be like, no, like that's just tiring. Like, she's like, you work out every day. I was like, I know, but I get in these woods and I'm like, can we go home? I get to breathe in the heart. It's just a different way of healthiness, right? Eat well. Eat balanced. I am vegetarian, but I'm vegetarian because preventable diseases run very high in my family. High blood pressure, obesity, because of the way meats and things affect our body. Now, I don't tell people they need to be vegan or vegetarian or keto. I tell people to flex. If I go to Dave's house and all Dave has got is fish or chicken, and that's what we're going to eat, that's what I'll eat. That's what I'll eat. And then I just won't eat it anymore till the next time it may appear to me to eat it. Like I'll flex. I just move, right? And I just make sure I don't eat excessively in one area or the other one. I eat very balanced, making sure half my plate is alive. What I mean by alive, meaning fresh fruits and vegetables, stuff that'll spoil or rot if you don't. That's it, half the plate. And I'll add to your plate and you'll push off the stuff that you may not want on it, but that's not for me to decide because you know your life. It's just eat balanced. Sleep well. Learning how to get good sleep, because that's when all of the gains happen from the work you do. So your body, I don't know if y'all have it in the UK, but we used to have this game called Operation. Right? Have y'all ever saw that game where you're the doctor and you got these little prongs and you got to pull the bone out of the thing, and if you touch the top, it kind of vibrates. Okay. When you go to sleep, Mimi, your body opens up and little bitty mimis come out and they grab your protein and they go up the track, and we're going to go up the track and put the protein in your arms. We're going to put it in your, and little mimis take the fat and then they put it here. And but they only can do that when you're asleep. They can't do it while you're awake. So if you don't get good sleep, none of it matters anyway. You can run yourself into the ground all you want with working out. But if you don't get good sleep, it's not taking to the body, because that's the recovery process. That's why the body goes down into that REM state of sleep, where you're almost paralyzed to the movement for it to do whatever it needs to do to recover and regenerate you. And the last one, the last of the 5, is laugh a lot. And the reason that is because laughter is the one few things that I think you have to be present to do. And so it's my way of reminding people to be present. And I don't say those are the way, you got to, or this. I just think they point you in a direction that at least make you feel better and help you decide what it is you need to do. And so that's why I say it's an art, because it's your style. It's for Wayne, right? What Dave let me stop just using that. I keep using that. What Philip may use for fitness is going to be different from Wayne. Doesn't mean Wayne can't still have his health also. That's the art. That's the way we just drew it on the board. That's the colors we used on the canvas. That was the instead of it being a picture, you made a sculpture. Instead of you making a sculpture, you was a performer. It's an art. It's just the way we pick it up to get to the plot we want to be called well-being. So that's what I mean about, or that's what I speak heavily on, is don't get caught in the art. The art is the fun part. The art is the fun part. Just know the science, though. Know what your body, if you're trying to increase your cardiovascular strength, know your heart rate, your maximum heart rate. Know the intensity level you should move at. Those numbers won't change. 220 minus your age equals your maximum heart rate. Those things don't change unless they change the science. I guess they could do that too, but but the way you get there is yours. I have a lot of people who want to train like professional athletes. And I asked them, I was like, oh, I didn't know you were a professional athlete. And they go like, I'm not. I'm an accountant. And I'm like, well, why in the hell are you training like that? Like, you play football on Sundays. Like, it just doesn't seem like it. Like, why don't we get you ready for you? Because accountants, because they type or they do so much on the computer, they have a lot of postural imbalances. How about we fix those and just put you in the best accounting position possible? Because you're an accountant. You're not a football player. The art. It's just the area we play in. So did that answer? Was that good? Okay, cool. Got it.
Yeah, maybe great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I love that. Thank you.
Maybe do we owe you another episode that we can do that. We can bring Rob back because
you can reach out. You can reach out, Mimi, if you want. I'm robcook.com, social media, whatever. Reach out. I love having this conversation. Also, Mimi, that's a good one. I mean,
I work in fitness. I'm a fitness instructor, and I work in recovery specifically as well, which I love as a therapist. And but for me, I always struggle with being overweight my whole life, and every time somebody was like, you know what, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight. I what I heard is, I don't accept you, I don't love you, especially when it came from my parents. And that's what I heard. And I always felt all it takes for like healthy living, and it's a lot of effort and a lot of willpower, and I don't have that. So I'm a failure. And so my stepmom died of being overweight from a heart attack. So I went back to Argentina, where I'm from, and I went with my dad to see the surgeon because he wanted to talk to him. And we were talking, and then the surgeon looks at me, not knowing that she wasn't my actually my mom, because we didn't explain. So he looks at me and he says, and you need to lose weight. You need to do that because you're going to die like your mom. And I felt so offended. I thought, well, what a bit of a blunt delivery, you know, like I felt so.
I'd have cussed him straight up. That's just me. I'd have cussed him straight up. Who the fuck are you? Oh, long time ago.
Because, like, you know, he was lucky. And but I came back a couple of weeks later, and I was about to cut a piece of chocolate cake. I remember like it was today. And I look at that piece of cake and I thought, oh, this is one day less with my family, with my daughter and my husband at that time. That's what came to me. It was an insight. It was, so what happened for me wasn't that then I went to the gym or then I went to do willpower. I saw something that pointed me to change some habits in a way that didn't feel like it was a huge ask. What it pointed me to think, well, I love dancing. I love teaching dancing. What about I do a bit more of teaching dancing and a bit less of
cardio,
right? And a bit less of teaching Spanish. So because I know that if I have to turn up to work, I will go. But if I have to turn up to the gym, well, there's going to be a lot of times I want to. So, but if they pay me to go to move and do what I actually love, so now my clients are on that sort of page. We have as you're saying, we have a huge laugh. I hope really nobody's coming because they thought, oh no, what another class with Caroline. It's just like, we play like children. We you know, now Wayne does the tech on my the classes on virtual, and we laugh our socks off. So what I'm trying to say is that it has to make sense for you.
Yes.
And the great thing about this understanding is that you don't need to know how it's going to make sense for you. You don't need to know when it's going to make sense for you. But naturally, like, you know, like Mama J, Jacqueline Hollows suddenly decided one day because Derek told him, well, what about running? And she thought, running? I can, you know, just I'll be happy if I could walk about like 10 blocks, like, you know. Well, now she's doing videos on how to be somebody that didn't think she could run, and her own experience, her own.
Have you ever heard her story about the time she had to run in the jail because she was so scared when she first got into the jails?
No.
Oh my God, it's so funny. Just in short, you know, it was, she had did all this work to get into the jails, and she was so scared the first time she got into the jails that she took off running, and it was about a half mile to a mile run to get to the building where she would feel safe. It was the funniest story ever when she told me to it. And she was like, I think something's wrong with this. Kind of like, you know, that's her. She told me that running story. It was super funny, but I'm sorry. But I love that what you said. It's for everybody. It's even terminology changing for me. Like, okay, you have hair on your head, you have fingernails on your body. You got it on the sides. There you go, on the sides. You have blood inside of you. You have joints inside of you and ligaments. You never walk around saying, I feel very joint today. I feel very ligament today. I feel very, but why is fat? Why is fat content what we grab and it then identifies the whole person? Like nobody walks around and say, you know, I'm really feeling like a bunch of fingernails today. Like it doesn't happen. Like how did fat become the thing that then gets to classify you and mean something totally different about who you are? How did that come about other than us creating it? Because you got all kind of other shit in your body too. More of it than fat. Like there are very few people in the world who actually have more fat than muscle mass. Like the obesity is over, I guess, 35%. Okay, well, 35% is still not the majority. So how do you then identify yourself as being fat if you still have more muscle content than you do fat content? I don't understand it. And so it was this, and again, mine was reversed because I didn't have any fat, but I wasn't healthy. Like I was in shape, but I wasn't healthy. And I'm watching people beat themselves up and saying they're not healthy, but mentally they seem to be good, and they just didn't have an understanding of how to get physically fit. Those are two different things to me now. Being physically fit is one thing. Being healthy is a total nother. That's why I'm gonna turn the camera so you can see it. That's my brand, Unfit. I don't want nobody trying to fit in. Can you see it right there?
No, we can see the curtain. Can we see it? Yeah, we can see it now. Yeah.
I don't need nobody trying to fit in no box that I've prescribed for them on what their body's supposed to be. Because by the time you get to me, you've had years and years of a life experience. I'm only going to get a few stories. So I got this much of a glimpse into your true experience of life. And now I'm going to tell you what the fuck your body's supposed to be like? Come on, man. That's out of my lane. That ain't even my job. Like you come tell me, okay, you know, I have trouble doing this. Can't get up the steps. Okay, well, I don't even do weight loss. Like don't even contact me if you're trying to do weight loss because, well, you can. I'm sorry, you can. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not in the business of making people lose weight. I'll increase your muscle mass, right? We'll talk about your body competition, but the body composition, but this whole thing of fat and it's another one of those, you're black, I'm white, you're a man, I'm woman, it's just another one of those things we got to unplug from to get well. Right? Now, there is a such thing as carrying an excessive amount of fat. Okay, then let's just build your muscle content. Because there are NFL football players who are 300 pounds carrying single-digit body fat. So 300 pounds isn't the marker for fat. Like, they're 300 pounds, they're fat. He's got 6% body fat. Oh, well, he can't be fat. Wait, how does that work? Yeah, see, it all falls away to sometimes it can't be, you know, it can't stand up. So that's how I look at this health thing now, especially in physical fitness. But I use physical fitness because it's my way to meet anybody exactly where they are. That's what it is to me. It's the metaphor I use. Right? I'll meet you wherever you are talking about physical fitness, but before long, you'll realize that's not what I'm talking about. Kind of like how we got you here with healthy living is art, but when you talk shit about it, it's kind of like that right there. It's kind of like that right there, Mimi. You know.
Well, you tricked me.
But you do understand what healthy living is an art is now, though, don't you? Yeah, it worked. Yeah, I hope at least.
So brilliant, so brilliant. Well, this is like, I was gonna say, it's like the double whooper, it's like the triple, I can't now say, it's like the, you know, the triple cheeseburger Big Mac, because we're in healthy living. So we have the triple combo vegetarian episode, really. Vegan plant-based. So I like what you're saying, Rob, because what happens is really, as you get more in touch with, that's what we see all the time. People go like, it's my business, it's my relationship. It's like people get more in contact with their well-being, with, you know, understanding how our perception of living in this world as human beings is naturally just drop out the stuff that are not useful for them. Just naturally.
Naturally, I love it.
The business, and suddenly they stop biting and chewing their nails, and they didn't. What do you mean? I didn't come for this, but oh well. That they start losing excess weight without coming for that, because not magically, but something doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't make sense, because if you don't have to do this and that for other people, or you don't have to carry on your head so much thinking about worry, and if that drops, your anxiety levels goes down. Then what Rob is saying, naturally people start sleeping better. They go to the supermarket and they get curious about other food they have never tried before. They get hooked on a cooking program that now, oh wow, that looks appetizing. I want what he's having on that table. So it just naturally, that's why I think it would be, in a way, pointless, in a silly way, it would be pointless for us to spend an hour trying to talk about healthy living, and people may not listen anything about it. But in this time that Rob shared about his experiences, his life, and so deeply and honestly from the heart, where it touches your heart, and then that brings you to the presence, to what really, like our digestion just knows what to do. We know what to do. When the pictures of my grandmother and my great grandmother, you see them round and quite as white skin as they could. So we'll go around with parasols, because at that time it was an indication of health and not working class in a thing. It was part of the trendy thing. But also my grandmother had tuberculosis because there were no antibiotics. There was no penicillin. So he lost a lung, mostly a whole lung, who caused her a heart condition her whole life. So being slightly overweight was a sign of having wealth and being healthy at that time. So our perception of what is needed for the time we're living in this planet changes. Because wisdom is bigger than us in that sense.
Yeah.
So we can go and do what's the right thing for the time when we just listen, and we just go. We don't need to know. We don't need to know.
Yeah. I love that. Y'all are some cool people. That's just what came to my head. Y'all some cool people.
So, baby, do you need to go somewhere today, or
Yes, I do have. Let me check the timer. Oh, yeah.
It's okay?
9 minutes to the next client, but we're fine.
Well, so that you can have a glass of water or something. And Rob, you've been incredible. You've been so giving. I really, I can't express.
No, I can't.
The feeling is.
You've been amazing. Thank you.
Thank you all. I just
we
need you all to return the favor when I send that 3PGC podcast request out, okay? All right, I just need y'all to return that favor. And, I would love for us to have a conversation that I could put on that platform about what we're doing, the talking you have, and how to connect with human in the series. So I would love that if y'all are up for it.
We will absolutely love that.
Yeah.
And thank you to everybody who came, who heard, and who had questions and who could feel. I truly appreciate it, and I don't take it for granted at all. At all.
Thank you so much. You have closed the series and with an absolute bow cherry on the top, so where can people find you?
You can find me. Website is I'm Rob Cook, IMROBCOOK.com, or social media platforms, I'mRobCook.com. 3PGC, if you look under the podcast on their handpage, is there, but mostly around there, the website or the or social media. And if you hit me, I still respond to people. I'm not at the point where somebody else respond back. It's me, so yeah, reach out. I love to connect and talk.
Oh yeah, we're gonna put all that underneath the video, so you can reach Rob. Obviously, look, what a delight to talk to him. So thank you so much for closing our series for like this. We couldn't have asked for more.
No.
So next week we're starting series 5. Series 5 is actually gonna be the anniversary of this series starting in May last year. When we started, it was going to be just one talk with Chip and Jan Chipman, and that's all we thought it was going to be. But thanks to you and thanks to everybody that decided to come in and support us, we created this to help people, especially through lockdown and through the pandemic of COVID-19. We are actually now in April 2021, and so the series decided that it's going to keep going. So How to Connect with Humans is going to keep going for free as a free resource. So wherever you need this resource, you can use it. So we're going to start with the youngest ever speaker we have had. She's 14. Is
Wow.
Maya Taylor. She's created a business out of the blue of creating a package for well-being and self-love for teenagers. So she created this with her mom, with Sarah Taylor, and to, what they couldn't believe, the first lot sold in the first 24 hours. So I got goosebumps, honestly, that because so many of us and so many people have created programs to talk to teenagers, but what really, really she found is basically it's a peer talking to peers on something they can relate. They can receive this package with lots of lovely stuff, and they start feeling connected all through the principles. So that's how we're gonna kick off with Series 5. It's gonna be amazing. We have amazing people, so wait to see what surprises are coming. But I can tell you that, like, Philip and Niklas that are here going to be with us all the way from Sweden. We're going, as far as we know, we're having Mark Howard and Barb Patterson and lots of lovely people. Cristine Heath and Judith Sedgman are coming back. We're having Hannah Statley. So there's so many so many that some of them may have to move to Series 6 because but it will be lovely to see you next week. So thank you, and thank you, Rob. We absolutely adore you.
Love y'all. All right, and best of health to everybody.
So
very
we'll
much.
see you soon.